Hello, thank you for joining me today. This is a page for my 2023 album. It's a 9 by 12 album. I'm using these Inkwell Press hexagon stickers that I've had for a long time, as well as this stitching template from Some Assemblage Required. I really love these templates. I have several of them, and I'm gonna use that smaller hexagon. My idea is to have these hexagons kind of all over the place, and then complement that with the stitching with some stitched hexagons. I started this layout and I was just gonna do a one page, but then I had more pictures from this day. It was Father's Day back in 2023, so my family and I went out to celebrate and we took a couple of pictures, and I end up making this a double spread. So after I played around with these hexagons for a while, you can see them all glued down. I brought out my mat and my piercing tool, and I'm just going around that smaller hexagon. I do a few of full ones, and a couple of them I do on the edge. I then find some thread, and I'm picking three colors: green, yellow, and that salmon color, just to match those hexagons. And I'm gonna try to split them up and just make sure that I have a little bit of each color everywhere. I've I find it a little bit hard to just have them spread out evenly, but in the end, I really love the results of what this looked like. So here you're just seeing the three colors that I picked. These threads I got off of Amazon, and I just cut a piece, and they're 6 strings, so I just move it down to three, so that it's not as thick. Although I'm looking at other yellows, I do settle on that one that I have there. Everything else is too bright for me. So I do the stitching off camera, but this is what it looks like, and I am ready to move on. I've matted my photo on this light salmon paper, and I'm gonna just stick it up on some fun foam just to give it a little bit of dimension. I want this to pop out off the page, and even though I use no pattern paper for this layout, it still looks fun. I'm using these stickers, these alphabet stickers that I've had in my stash for a little bit. I recently got them. Again, I'm coming in with some wax paper just to look at the placement, but I end up knowing exactly where I want these placed. So I'll just spell out Father's Day, and I'm gonna have that go under my picture in that white space right there. Also brought out my T-square ruler just to make sure things are straight and that nothing is too wonky. I am spelling this out in Portuguese. I am originally from Brazil, so sometimes I use Portuguese, sometimes I use English. For Father's Day, since this was Brazilian Father's Day, it felt appropriate to use it in Portuguese. So once I spell that out, I cut it up just so I can play around with it. But as I said, I end up pretty much just sticking it down exactly where there's not much fussing for this for these words. And that's gonna be it. I'm gonna glue these down. And now that everything is glued down, I go into my stash and I grab some stickers from a Jen Hetfield Peaceful Heart, and I have the sticker sheet pack, and I just use some of the flowers from there. I really love these flowers, and I thought these colors went really well with the colors of those hexagons, and all of that goes really well with the clothing we're wearing, so just felt like a perfect match. So now I'm gonna play around with the placement of these flowers. I add one to the bottom right of that photo, as well as one underneath the title. I felt like under the title there was a little bit of empty space. I also grabbed some of the individual flowers from this the sticker pack, and I think I add a leaf here, and that's gonna go on the top there, around those hexagons. So I'm just trying to make the cluster a little more balanced. And oh yeah, that ends up on the top left. Um, I do feel like there's something missing up there, so I do add another flower there. And I'm gonna come in. There are also some phrase stickers in this sticker pack, so I come in with some of those. I add one to the top left and one to the bottom right. I write the date, and then I like how it looks. I also add another yellow flower, and then this is when I decide, you know what, I'm gonna make a partner page here. I already have my title down, so I basically put these side by side. I am gonna add the hexagons. I've matted the pictures for that other page on the same paper that I did in the original layout, and I just go back to those hexagons. And by the end of this 2-page spread, I actually used all of those hexagons up, which was my ultimate goal. So here you just watch me placing the hexagons. I want to overlay them with the pictures a little bit, and I'm just picking where everything is going to go, and I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to add the hexagons, I'm going to do some stitching, and then I'll come back in with some more flowers from that Hen Headfield Peaceful Heart sticker sheet. And I believe I also am going to add another word phrase to this side of the layout as well. One thing that I'm being careful here is the patterns on these hexagons, making sure that they're not too repetitive from the left side spread to the right side spread. So just balancing everything out. And then I also cut out the edge of that top right hexagon, and I'm gluing here down at the bottom left of the page, just reusing and filling up those gaps. I've finished gluing everything down. I've done the stitching. Now we're back. This is more or less how this layout's going to look. I'm again going through that sticker sheet. I'm going to add some flowers here, and just bringing all those elements from the left into the right, so my layout looks cohesive, and these 2 pages are going to live side by side in my album. So I really want to make sure they go together and things flow. The one thing that doesn't 100% flow is that those hexagons that are on the edge, on the right side edge of the left layout and on the left side edge of the right layout, if they're cut off, they don't really go with the other side, but that doesn't bother me too much. I use D-ring binders, so they will have a gap anyways between them, so I feel that that's fine. I'm also adding a little bit more wet glue here, just to make sure those word stickers don't come off. They were kind of peeling off before, so I want to make sure that everything stays glued down. I think I still have a couple more hexagons, so I'm just gonna use those up, and once I do, I'm gonna call this layout done. So here we are. Everything is glued down, everything is done. I really like how this turned out. I used both sheets of those hexagons. I now have some close-ups for you, and that's gonna be it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.